Well, hello, and welcome to the PJH Writing Command Center for another podcast episode from God Bless the Keg Publishing, LLC. And I am Paul John Hausleben of God Bless the Keg Publishing, LLC. I'm the flagship author, chief photographer, music reviewer, music critic, do everything guy here at God Bless the Keg Publishing, LLC, with a little help from the friends. And the friends are all gathered here today, and they're very excited because they were here at 4 o'clock in the morning, beating on the door to get in, because we have a special treat today. We have additional friends here. We have the amazing team of Frankie T, the amazing Musical Encyclopedia, and we also have Jeff, the musical wizard, here. And we're going to be doing a rated series on the 5 best session musicians of all time. And we have 2 of the greatest musical talents, musical critics, reviewers in the world here at the World-Famous Writing Command Center. Friends are just thrilled. So before we get too deep into this, because we got a lot we need to cover here, so let me get right to it here. And if you're a first-time tuner-inner, then welcome. If you're a long-time listener, a subscriber, a follower of the podcast, then welcome back. And we're just thrilled you're here to join us for this episode. So if you want to get your little Orphan Annie decoder pins out, because it is Christmas in July. It's absolutely Christmas in July, the 25th. I'm not sure what that means, but this podcast is proudly sponsored by Corporate Facilities Group Incorporated, the leader in technical consulting, facilities maintenance, facilities management, and operations, as well as property maintenance and management services throughout America. And now, CFG Incorporated is proud to announce a new department, a new initiative, headed up by the amazing Mr. Steve McMillan. And let's give it up for old Steve Aruski. Yes, indeed. Steve brings his many years of experience as he manages pre-construction services and estimating for residential development, residential renovations, and light commercial projects for CFG Incorporated. So before you spend big bucks on a project, let old Steve Aruski check out the contractor scope and price to make sure your hard-earned money is going in exactly the right place. Check them out on the web at www.corporatefacilitiesgroup1.com. That's www.corporatefacilitiesgroup1.com. And many thanks to Lydia, Steve, Liliana, Summer the dog, Smokey the kitty cat at CFG Incorporated in beautiful Marietta, Georgia. Thank you so much for sponsoring the podcast. And we do have, I want to perpetuate this not-for-profit organization that I announced, I think, maybe last podcast. I think so. But this is a great organization, and a very good friend of mine back home in New Jersey is very, very involved in this project. He's a longtime advocate for veterans, Vietnam veteran himself. And it's the Reese Across America, which is a wonderful not-for-profit that puts Reese at holiday time. It's Christmas in July, but this is going to be the real Christmas. And they put wreaths on veterans' grave sites throughout America at holiday time. So the Butler Kinnelon Veterans Wreath Group, which is a branch of Wreaths Across America, is having a fundraiser, and you can pick up a large fish and chips or a chicken dinner on 29th of July, 2026 from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And it's at Tastefully British, which I've been to. It's a fantastic place, wonderful fish and chips, or if you rather have the chicken dinner. It's 163 Union Avenue in Bloomingdale, New Jersey. Tastefully British, a fundraiser for Wreaths Across America. It's a wonderful organization. So if you have any not-for-profit charity groups, anything you'd like Paulie to announce on the podcast, please send it ahead to godblessthekegpublishing@gmail.com. That's godblessthekegpublishing@gmail.com. If you want to yell at us or tell me I'm a crazy fool, that's okay too. We'll take any kind of feedback we can get. So thank you so much. And let me unmic the microphones here and welcome the fantastic. First, we'll go with Jeff, the musical wizard. And Jeff, thank you so much for coming to the Writing Command Center today on a Saturday, and I'm very excited about this.
Very happy to be here. Been looking forward to this one. You and I have been talking about this a little bit at work.
Right.
and things that need to be said are going to be said.
All right, I love that. And we got the great Frankie T over there. And Frank, welcome. Can't see over my screen here, but welcome.
I can see the top of your head.
I hope the reflection isn't blinding you.
Thanks for having me. I'm really looking forward to this. I am also looking forward to working with both of you on this because I respect both of your opinions so much. So I'm looking forward to getting into it.
Well, Paulie's got one of my favorite bands, of course, Jethro Tull. So Thick as a Brick. Really don't mind if I sit this one out. I think I'm a little outclassed by Frankie T and Jeff, at least on this subject. Although I made a couple notes. So this will be a rated series, 5-1. And I'm sure there'll be some on mentions. But before we get into the meat and potatoes and gravy, because you know how it goes. I got to tell a story. Mm-hmm. Did you know that was coming, Frank?
No.
Oh, yeah. Frank, my 2 podcasts ago, when you were doing your Jack Kerouac with your brother, the road trip across America, I did a rant on the World Cup madness. And
wait, you did a rant? I'm shocked.
Yeah, I know. And it was a little bit of the Yankees, too, with Aaron Boone and his stupid analytics. And I went off a little bit, and you were not here to control me with the famous Frankie T tranquilizer dart gun. So I went amok, and some of the friends tried to sneak in. And you should always keep your weapons locked up, Frank. And they couldn't get to the tranquilizer gun, so I went a little off beat. So we're counting on you. I need a seatbelt here. I think I need a seatbelt. But last night I went and I felt like pizza, so I went to the joint down here, and I just having a couple slices and I had a couple beers, just relaxing. And there were 3 guys next to me, you see, and I guess they were buds, and I got the impression that they met there, once a month or something, just to hang out together, get away from their wives or whatever. And the one guy was so loud. He was one of them loud guys, and he's going on and on and on, and the place was crowded. And you know what subject he decided to beat on? He starts beating on New Jersey.
Oh, God.
Well, it's an easy target. Easy target.
And he starts with this thing, when you go over the Delaware Bridge and you get into New Jersey and it smells. He's going on and on and on. I was like, this guy. And I was gentle. I didn't say anything. I was, if I had my Manhattans, it might have been a different story than some of that fake water beer. Anyway, but it reminded me of a story. I was on a flight back in my traveling days from California to Philadelphia, or vice versa. I think Philly to California. And it was another one of these guys, and he sat right across the aisle from me, and he was going on and on and on to the guy sitting next to him. The guy sitting next to him was very polite. It's a long flight, and I think he wanted to just go to sleep. And this guy kept yapping. And he was talking all about how horrible Philadelphia was. Philadelphia, this and that, and the sports team stink, and the people are mean, and blah, blah, blah. He's going on. Cheesesteaks weren't that good. He's just complaining all flight long. So we get to California and we land. And the guy who was yapping, you really couldn't tell. The guy sitting next to him stood up to get his luggage. And he was like an NFL linebacker. He was like this giant mountain of a guy. And the yapping guy must have not realized how big a human being he was. And he's kind of got these parting words as everybody's getting ready to offboard. And he says, "Oh, by the way, where are you from?" He says to the big guy. The guy says, "Philadelphia." I thought to myself, this guy's going to pummel him. And the guy, it was like those Bugs Bunny cartoons, where the guy's eyeballs come out of his head. So at any rate, that reminded me of that last night. And I digress, but not too long, only 9 minutes. So anyway, so here we go. A rated series, a session of 5 best session musicians. And Jeff, you want to go first? Is that what we're going to do here?
That works for me.
All right. Well, you got it. Go ahead.
Well, the first thing I really wanted to point out, it's something that's been bothering me because I helped suggest this, is there's a difference between sidemen and session musicians. Session musicians are the guys who are in there, create the music with the performer aren't regularly part of the band. And sidemen are sometimes the same guys, but they're out and they're recreating the music in front of people in concert. And so there are some people who I remember, like Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page was a session musician for years and years and years.
Correct.
And then he became a star. And that happens occasionally throughout the time. But when we're talking today, we're talking more of the people who were inside the studio as opposed to maybe not on the tour with them.
Okay.
A perfect example is Stevie Ray Vaughan was the session musician for David Bowie's Let's Dance. However, it was Earl Slick who went on concert with him. So I didn't get to see Stevie Ray. I got to see Earl, and that kind of disappointed me. But two different things, equal, but not equal, if that makes sense. But that's just, I wanted to get that out. But I was also going to start my list.
All right, so you have some on-mentions here?
Too many on-mentions, so I'm going to limit it to 2.
Okay. All right, go for it. And I get what you mean about that. And I'll have some comments on that too, particularly about session musicians, because I have a feeling you both are going to mention the Wrecking Crew, but at any rate, who became stars. But go ahead, Jeff.
First one, it's called The Section. I don't know if you recognize who that is, but that's people like Danny Kochmar, Leland Sklar, Russ Kunkel. I think Waddy Wachtel was also involved there. But that was the band that every Southern California star used in the 70s. I mean, so these guys were good, solid, great musicians. Matter of fact, we're going to be mentioning probably Russ Kunkel again because he also was in the Wrecking Crew for a while. But they were the sound of the 70s. You listen to Linda Ronstadt, they were there.
Jackson Browne,
all those people. C.S. Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and I think even Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Those guys are there. I mean, yes, their drummer was Dallas Taylor, but you needed somebody else on bass.
So give us a breakdown of instruments that they play, Jeff.
Well, you had Kochmar was guitar. Leland Sklar is also guitar, but he's a bass player, really. You're looking at Russ Kunkel, drums. Waddy Wachtel was also a guitar player. But, I mean, you're looking at things like Doctor My Eyes by Jackson Browne.
Right.
You're looking at things like, I'm trying to remember, Carole King. They did that entire Tapestry album.
Right.
You don't get much better than that, but they're only an honorable mention.
Interesting. Okay.
And my other honorable mention is Bobby Keys.
Okay.
I'm not a major Stones fan, but I highly, highly appreciate their hiring ability. And they hired Bobby Key. That was their sax man. He was there all through the 70s. Not only could he play a mean horn, he could drink most of the Stones under the table. And if you can do that, that is the talent you hire him for. So, I mean,
awesome.
Those are the main guys. I mean, like Brown Sugar.
Right.
That's him wailing on the sax in the back. And he was tight. He was actually, the more he was drunk, the better he played.
Yeah, that's, Gordon Lightfoot said that all the time. He couldn't write songs unless he was having a bag.
I mean, so those are my honorable mentions, and I'm going to wait for Frankie to give his honorable mentions.
All right, let's do that. Let's trade off. That's good. I like that.
I'll be honest. I have down here for honorable mentions Waddy Wachtel and Danny Kochmar. And
wow, great minds think alike.
And I actually saw. I can't remember which one played with Linda Ronstadt. I saw her. I think it was 79 or 80 at the Cap Center. I think it was Kochmar, and but that just jumped out because, like you said, I mean. Danny Kochmar, Tapestry, Sweet Baby James, Running on Empty, Building the Perfect Beast for some of the End of the Innocence for some of the albums he worked on. Waddy Wachtel worked with Linda Ronstadt, Stevie Nicks, Randy Newman, Keith Richards, Bon Jovi, Jackson Browne. It's just two consummate players.
Yeah.
Any of you ever see Linda Ronstadt live?
Yeah.
Did not.
She was amazing.
I got invited by a group of girls at my college because I came from the Maryland.
Gee, what a poor guy, Frank.
Yeah, and
how long did it take you to accept that invite?
About 3 seconds. But they knew I was from Maryland, and they didn't want to drive up from Bridgewater College to Maryland. They like, if we buy gas, will you drive?
Yeah.
And we have a ticket for you. I'm like, I'm all in. And I was stunned at how much I enjoyed that concert.
Yeah, she had a fabulous voice and quite a looker on the stage, too. My goodness gracious.
I mean, our ages are very similar, but I'm just a little bit younger.
Are you saying we're all old dinosaurs?
No, I'm an old guy. But so that makes you really old guys. No, Basically, I miss a lot of the 70s concerts because I was just shy of buying those tickets myself.
Right.
But my father worked at Capitol Center. So every once in a while, he'd get us in and we'd go see somebody from behind the stage.
Oh, nice.
And that's it exactly. He took us to go see John Denver. He took us to go see Eagles. Now, Parliament Funkadelic also played there once a year up at the Capitol Center. That was their big concert of the year. He never took us to see Parliament Funkadelic, and that's the one I regret not seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So, that one was not.
So Frank we had some dupes there, right? We had some dupes there. So, okay. All right, Jeff, you bump over to number 5.
All right, my number 5. You gave us very explicit directions of what we could and could not put in here.
Oh, I did? Okay.
You did. You said no jazz.
Oh, no jazz.
No country.
No jazz. Yeah.
I'm immediately ignoring that.
Thank you.
Chet Atkins.
Oh, yeah.
A star in his own right.
And that's a crossover guy, right? That's a crossover guy.
I mean, he is one of the big finger-picking players of all time. In country, in jazz, in rock. He played across the board.
Right.
But, I mean, he's won like 14 different Grammys.
Yep.
He did things like Four Walls, Oh, Lonesome Me, Sweet Dreams, I Can't Stop Loving You. He worked on A Boy Named Sue.
Mm-hmm.
He was there. He played the music, and they respected his talent. But he was a star in his own right. He didn't write a lot, but he played a lot. And he, when I say write a lot, I don't mean lyrics. But he played, and he played well. And he played with everybody. And he later in his career, he won a Grammy for an album that he did with this unknown guitarist from England named Mark Knopfler, or something like that.
Some guy just picked up the guitar one day. Yeah, Neck and Neck. Have you ever listened to the record?
I've heard parts of it. I've not heard the whole thing.
It's really good.
But he gave this kid a chance.
Yeah.
And he made something of himself.
And, Atkins played ukulele. Mm-hmm. He played the banjo. He played the fiddle, as well as the guitar. So I think during his early session days, I think he did a lot of banjo work in particular. But
Well,
great.
I mean, if you're a picker, banjo is an obvious thing that you should also be playing, if not your main instrument, at least as a side piece.
Yeah, and I think looming on the horizon of podcasts will definitely be Paulie's 5 greatest guitarists. And I'll definitely cross genres, but Chet Atkins is going to be on it. I can tell you that much.
I mean, he was a player. To this day, people are still trying to learn how to play like him, specifically in country, but
right.
You're not going to do much better. And he's only number 5.
Yeah. All right, we'll bump over to Frankie T. You're number 5, Frank.
My number 5 is from the great Stax record collection, Booker T and the MGs, which I had a lot of trouble ranking these because with session musicians, quite honestly, the way I rank them is according to a lot of it, the music I like. Booker T and the MGs I like a lot, and they had a solo career. They actually put out some albums, some of which in the 80s were very, very good. And the most well known are Booker T. Jones and Steve Cropper, who made his name or got famous, I guess, with the Blues Brothers. And they were the house band for Stax Records. Played with the likes of Wilson Pickett, Otis Redding, Bill Withers, Sam and Dave, Albert King, Johnny Taylor, staple singers. What I really liked about them or appreciated when I saw it was I have a CD collection, Atlantic Records 40th anniversary. It's a fantastic CD. So when they had a celebration for the 40th anniversary, they were the house band for that.
You couldn't do better. I mean, between Al Jackson and Duck Dunn, who were the other two in the band, masters of their instruments, had a leader in Booker who not only could he play, he understood the music, he could teach the music, he could produce the music. All of them could do that.
I know you're a big fan of Booker T. You mentioned that many times, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, specifically Steve.
Just a consummate guitarist.
And for most people, I think our age who didn't already know them, if they did see them and did get to know who they were, it was through the Blues Brothers because that's where they reintroduced a lot of that music.
Yeah.
And I wasn't as big of an R&B fan until that movie came out. And then I liked, oh, there's this. Oh, there's this. Oh, my God, there's this.
Right.
When The Commitments came out, I think that was in the late 90s, they re-released some of that old R&B. And for the most part, very, very good, competent covers.
Sure.
One or two of them, I hate to say it, were better than the original. But, I mean, because of the Blues Brothers, I got to Booker T. From Booker T, I was able to get to when the Commitments came out, and it just keeps growing and growing. And of everybody who I got to see in concert, I got to see Booker T and the MGs in concert.
Really?
Wow.
They were here in Richmond. They opened for the B-52s over at the near the racetrack. I forget what that amphitheater was called. And everybody was in the beer garden drinking. And I'm over here because I'm trying to stick near my wife. But at the same time, I'm over here going, Booker T, Steve, Duck, and Steve Jordan on drums. And it was, I didn't appreciate it enough. I would appreciate it now a lot more if I went to go see them again.
Right.
But they were one of those people on my checklist. Got them off the list. So
Awesome.
I got to say that's one where I think the opening act would have been better to see.
well, in many ways, plus we had front row seats.
Oh my God.
So I mean, had I realized how much I was going to enjoy their music ultimately, I would have been there earlier just so I could watch those four guys play.
Yeah.
I mean, because Steve Jordan is no Al, but Al is no Steve Jordan. Steve Jordan is a wonderful person and was another one of my in the running for honorable mentions.
Okay.
Because he is the Charliest, Wattest drummers who's not Charlie Watts. Has this jazz sensibility,
Right.
but he's playing good old-fashioned R&B rock and roll.
Awesome. And I had a second row seat for Linda Ronstadt. And let me tell you, I was getting a little sweaty at the end of that concert. She was very up close and personal. Okay, Jeff, what you got next?
Okay, so I guess we're up to number 4. And
Jeff's got a lot of notes there, Frank.
I had to. I was on vacation when I wrote this up, so I had a little yellow notebook. The Funk Brothers.
Oh,
And do you know who the Funk Brothers are?
yes.
Okay. Funk Brothers, basically everything Motown.
We just
What's
talked
the Funk
about that,
Brothers?
Frank, before you came in, Jeff.
And you know how big I'm on bass players. I
Right.
love a good bass player, but I love a great bassist.
Right.
And they had one of the best, James Jamerson. Mm-hmm. And but they had him. They had Marvin Gaye was there. He played keyboards with them. Did some backup singers. Backup singing. He may have done backup singers too. But Mr. Postman, Fingertips by Stevie, My Guy, I'll Be There by the Four Tops, Shop Around, How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You.
You think they
these
sold
are
a few
classic.
records on that?
I just hope that Gordy paid these men well, and if they got a portion of the money, even better, because these men created. I mean, you know, I know you're going to leave that 6
Yes.
drum roll.
With the fill of that. Yeah.
That was classic. That was throughout all their music.
Yes.
And these were, I hate to use wonderful again, but these guys were transcending to watch. They were magical. They were wonderful. They were men who loved what they did, and it showed. And through the music, it's shown. It was. I can't think of the words to say how good it was. Iconic. I mean, James Jamerson. If you list a group of, I've done this to you before. Who are your 10 favorite bass players?
Right.
Or who are your 5, whatever. He is on the top 10.
Okay.
Definitely.
Well, before you leave that, just they are on my list, different number, but on my list. They had more number one hits. They performed on more number one hits than the Beach Boys, Elvis, the Rolling Stones, and the Beatles combined.
Believe it. I mean, there's something to be said about being the house band. You've got to have your stuff together to be part of a house band of a major label, and Motown was a major label.
Yeah, and we were talking about this because I mentioned that the gal from Jersey that I had done the Rated series on is releasing a new record in the fall, and she's on Sun. And Jeff and I were talking about iconic old records, and I think it's a Resurrected Sun. But let me ask you two guys, and Frankie T, you can go first. Why does Motown not exist anymore?
Money.
I really don't know. I know, the music changed a lot in the 70s to a more angry, more hard-driven. They were big 59 to 72. They moved to LA, moved a lot of the operations to LA.
So did that lose their identity?
Partially, but it's also times were changing.
Yeah.
Towards the end, you were having Marvin Gaye doing Mother.
What's going on? Yeah.
Exactly. And it was changing. And whatever you want to say about Berry Gordy, and there are a lot of bad things to say about Berry Gordy, is he knew how to make quick, great pop songs with R&B. And for a community that wasn't very well represented at the time when it came musically. But there are people who today, they're going to be up there singing, My Guy.
Oh,
and all this
absolutely.
other stuff,
I mean,
and not even realize that that's Motown and it's permeated society. But money, ego.
Right.
He was getting older. He wasn't as good as Barry Gordy wasn't as good as he used to be.
Right.
If either of you ever get to Detroit, go to Hitsville.
Yeah.
My son worked in Detroit for a year and a half, and I went up to visit him one time. He was at work. I took the entire morning and into the early afternoon, went to Hitsville, and you do the tour. It's really cool that you end up in Studio A, where a lot of those early hits were done.
Is that the one that has the thing up above, which they were projecting the sound up and got the reverb?
Yeah, but it's in the basement of this house.
Okay.
And you go in there, and they teach you some dance moves, and they give you the lyrics to My Girl, and you get to sing My Girl at Studio A. It is just a surreal experience.
Awesome.
It is on my list, but it's one of those things I have to convince the wife.
No, and I've been to Detroit many times, but never checked that out.
If we ever go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, she's just going to find a chair, and I'm going to be going, look over here. See this? I told her my list, and she's like, oh.
Yeah.
It's like my wife when I go to a museum. She sits in the corner. She watches me have this fun about this. Look at this. It's Napoleon's death mask.
Yes.
So what do we got next? Frankie T next.
Oh, my number 4. My number 4 is, and this doesn't have to do with the quality of them. It has to do with their music is not highest on my list, and that's the Wrecking Crew. And
I knew that would come.
It's early on mine, but it's more of that. There are other session bands that I enjoy the music better. Everyone knows the Wrecking Crew. If you've been around, you saw there was a documentary on.
Wonderful documentary.
Yes,
it really. And before I get to the Funk Brothers, Standing in the Shadow of Motown is a documentary on them that is fantastic.
Okay.
Highly recommended.
Must see.
It was interesting because the name the Wrecking Crew, Hal Blaine, which is one of the members of the sort of the what I'll call the upstart guys. It was a bunch of classical and jazz trained musicians from the 50s. They wore suits and ties. They were session musicians in LA. And the newer crowd started coming in the 60s, and they were wearing open collared shirts, and they were playing rock and roll. And Hal Blaine was one of those, and he wrote a biography in the 90s, and he said they said we got called the Wrecking Crew by these old guys because we were wrecking music. And that has been disputed by other members of the Wrecking Crew, saying they never called us that. But in the 60s and 70s and into the 80s, they were the session musicians in LA. They were, session musicians. The studio time was so expensive, and they did hot take. They actually did hot takes. They went in and they recorded live, and so they wanted really experienced musicians to do that sort of recording so they could nail it quickly. And famously they were on the Byrds Mr. Tambourine Man because the Byrds couldn't get it together well enough to do that, and they were wasting a lot of time. So Wrecking Crew, some of the Hal Blaine, Glenn Campbell was with them, Leon Russell, Carol Kay, Dr. John was with them for a while.
Yeah.
They became they got a lot of prominence when Phil Spector started using them for their Wall of Sound. They were just incredible classically trained, formally trained musicians, and they played,
virtuosos there. Really,
they were stunning.
And I think it was Jeff that mentioned session musicians who turned into stars, and certainly Glenn Campbell fits that bill.
Leon Russell.
Glenn Campbell, meeting up with Jimmy Webb and all those
Wichita linemen.
Those dramatic, sappy ballads.
Oh, they're so good.
But they're so good.
Oh my God.
But Campbell's guitar, he is very seldom mentioned in the great guitarists. He's very seldom mentioned. And if you watch clips of him, both Wrecking Crew and afterwards, it's mind-boggling how fantastic a guitarist he was. It is just effortless.
Well, and in this group, because I'm going to tell you, my number 3 is also the Wrecking Crew.
I guess we have to have a little drama, right, friends?
But amongst this group, you had the Hal Blaines, you had the Earl Palmers, And even at that time, that would mean Glenn was the young upstart.
Yeah.
Because he was also a Beach Boy at one point.
Right.
But you're just looking how tight this band was. Hal Blaine, I can name 5 or 6 other better drummers, but I can only name 5 or 6 better drummers. Bass players, Carol Kay.
Right.
I mean, she was a jazz musician first, but you give her the assignment, you tell her this is where you need to start, this is where you need to end, and I need you to hit that there. It's done in the first take, done hot.
Right.
I mean, so I have people like Leon. I have Larry Kunkel. He was there.
Yeah.
I say his name wrong every time. Mike Melvon. I don't know if you know who that is. His kids ended up being one of Wendy and Lisa, and his son played keyboards for the Smashing Pumpkins. So this was a lineage.
Ooh.
I mean, but some of the stuff
Jeff digging deep there, Frankie
Yeah,
T.
no kidding.
I mean, they did the entire first Monkees album.
Right.
Yeah.
They did I've Got You, Babe. They did River Deep, Mountain High. These are classics.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as you said, one take.
Yeah, because studio time's so expensive.
Yeah. But if you get a chance to watch the documentary, it's done by Tommy Tedesco's son.
Yeah, I have seen it. It is marvelous.
Very enjoyable.
Marvelous. Must see.
I found out, I really clued into them. I was driving into my job at Circuit City, which Paula and I used to work over there, and I was listening to NPR on my way in, and they were profiling when that documentary came out. They were profiling it, and I sat in the parking lot and just listened to it for like they had a whole half hour of it, and I'm just like, this is the most fascinating thing I've ever heard. And I just never really clued into them. And they were talking about Herb Alpert used them. There's a I can't remember the name of the song. I didn't have a chance to look it up. Where there's a boom, 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 and it starts da 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 da, and they talked about that, getting that drum, that kettle drum right. It was fascinating.
Well, I mean, they're also. I don't know how much you're into the Beach Boys. I am a Brian Wilson fan. He did Smile, which got taken away by himself for many, many years and finally re-released. But they were the original band for Smile.
Right.
And so you have Carol Kay, you have Tedesco, you have Blaine all playing on that. And you have a genius trying to lead them and tell them how to play. And they're listening because they know he's a genius. It was wonderful. I keep using that word. But if you ever have a chance to listen to the original stuff, which is out there to be listened to, but then you listen to when he re-released it about 20 years ago, it was him. It was the group called the Wonderments, and almost as well played as the Wrecking Crew, but a very enjoyable experience.
And you had, excuse me, go ahead, Frank.
No, I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh, okay. You had mentioned, you being Jeff, that on your hidden gem, the Smile, and I did spin that, and it's quite impressive. It's a fabulous piece of work.
It is a piece of genius that got hid away for years.
Yeah.
But then you look at who all played at all this stuff.
Right.
Of course, it was genius. He was smart, and they were good.
Yeah.
So,
So that was your number 3, which was a dupe. So, Frankie T, what you have next?
This one was hard because I swapped back and forth, but I'm going to go the Muscle Shoals rhythm section.
Okay.
And Muscle Shoals, from Muscle Shoals, Alabama, or actually they were not quite in Muscle Shoals, but they took on that name. In northern Alabama, there's nothing there. Again, highly recommend if anyone's listening. There's a documentary called Muscle Shoals that I think won an Oscar. And it is a fascinating look at them. But they were the R&B, country, and soul, rock and roll band. They or studio musicians. They sort of came together. There was an entity called Florence Alabama Music Enterprises, FAME. They had the first group that was session musicians down there. They all moved to Nashville. They got sort of co-opted by Nashville. And the second version, the second FAME, what they called, came in, and they're the ones who really made the sound. And they became what are known as the Swampers, identified by Leonard Skinner very famously. And they played with Aretha, Wilson Pickett, Percy Sledge, the Rolling Stones. Keith Richards is on record saying when they went there in '69, they cut let me see what they cut Brown Sugar and Wild Horses with them. And he said, we've never been more prolific ever when he was playing with them. And they really were not, they unlike the Wrecking Crew, which were seriously trained musicians, these guys didn't read music really that well. So they would get in there and they would just play around with the song. So they'd get the bass of the song and they'd all just start contributing. And to see, if you look at the documentary, they're talking, it's like, I need it to sound a little more like a light rain on a metal roof. And that meant something to all of them. And they all start playing in a slightly different style. It's fascinating to watch. But I love the music that they did. They were from the 60s to the 80s, they were on 75 gold or platinum hits. And they're just a fantastic group. I highly recommend the documentary because it's just fun to watch these guys playing around in the studio. And they're, what was funny is there's a scene in there where Wilson Pickett is being taken down to record with them, and he's thinking he's going to get a bunch of African American musicians because they had that sound.
Yeah.
And he walks in, it's a bunch of. He goes, they look like white farmers.
They probably were.
Northern Alabama.
Yeah.
Well, I've known about Muscle Shoals for years, and I came late to appreciate more of the Southern rock sensibilities.
Right.
I didn't get Leonard Skinner when I first listened to them. I don't listen to Molly Hatchet.
Right.
Allman Brothers. I can appreciate everything about all these bands, including Muscle Shoals, but I just never got enough history behind it for me to be able to grow with it. But then there are people from those groups and those areas. Rolling Stones have an ability of hiring great keyboardists, and one of the keyboardists they did from that area is Chuck Level. I'm sorry, I always say Sewell because I try to put it together. Chuck Level, who played with the Allman Brothers, and I think he played at Muscle Shoals. I don't know if he was one of the Muscle Shoals. But
yeah, and the Southern rock, the Outlaws, Leonard Skinner, all that. In my opinion, the best Southern rock was the Marshall Tucker Band, and they just don't get any recognition. The height of their powers, Carolina Dreams, Searching for a Rainbow. The first debut album, which is simply called Marshall Tucker Band, is spectacular. It's a 5-star record. And I lean towards the Marshall Tucker Band because they have a guy who plays the flute. Jerry Eubanks. So anyway, okay, so that's, me and those flutes. Ian Anderson, you've killed me here. You've killed me. So, Jeff, what you got next?
I'm going to segue from Chuck Leavell, who was keyboardist for the Rolling Stones, but other people that they used were, of course, Ian McLagan from The Faces,
right.
And they used Ian Stewart, their original player. But this number 2, Nicky Hopkins.
Oh, I knew you love Nicky. Yeah,
I love Nicky Hopkins.
Yeah.
I didn't know who he was when I first started hearing him on those albums. I'm going, I like that. Wait a minute, I like that, and I go to the liner notes. Nicky Hopkins, Nicky Hopkins, Nicky Hopkins. This man has some talent. He mostly played keyboards. I mean, mostly played piano, but he also did harpsichord.
The harpsichord on
and he did this,
She's a Rainbow, right?
Yep, and the Celestia. And there's a beauty in his playing. I mean, when the Stones wanted more of a boogie-woogie feel, you got Ian Stewart. When you wanted a pure rock feel, you went and got Ian McLagan. But if you wanted something that's going to make you stand there and cry, you got Nicky Hopkins, and he was almost only a session musician because he had some belly issues that eventually ended his life. And so he'd be in the studio, and I can only imagine if he'd been able to go out and tour with these bands.
Yeah.
I think he joined Spirit towards the end of his career with is it Randy California or something Cassidy? I think we're also in that. And again, it's beautiful. It's well played. He is probably the highlight. There's a song, She's Like a Rainbow, we just mentioned. I can sit there and listen to that song over and over and over.
Absolutely.
And I know there's a brilliant guitarist, brilliant bassist, and a drummer and a singer. But I'm listening to the keyboards.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, that scene in Ted Lasso where it's used on Roy Kent's re-entry to Richmond is just dramatic.
Well, man, he was on things like Jealous Guy with your favorite guy, John Lennon. And War Is Over. He did Photograph for Ringo.
Oh, wow.
You Are So Beautiful. Which maybe people don't know, the person who wrote that was a Beach Boy, but it was Dennis. Most people don't realize that. But he played on that as well for the Joe Cocker version. Nielsen, I don't know if many people know Nielsen. I'm sure you both do.
Nielsen, Schmielsen.
Exactly. So on Son of Schmielsen, He has the best breakup song in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only say part of the first line. You've broken my heart. You've torn it apart. You can fill in the rest of what goes on to that line. At best breakup song in the world, he plays keyboards on that.
Right.
I can just sit back. I don't have to think. I just have to feel when that man plays.
All right, Frank, you're up next.
Okay, my number 2 is the Memphis Horns.
Ooh.
And I love blues. I love when blues incorporates horns. And I just think it gives a much more of a depth to the music. And the Memphis
I
Horns
agree.
are fantastic. But they started out, they played a lot with the Stax Volt crowd. And some of the things, they have 83 gold and platinum records.
Wow.
Including playing on Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, Let's Stay Together, and Suspicious Minds with Elvis. Just incredible songs that they were part of. They played with like Al Green, Aretha, James Taylor, Neil Diamond, Stephen Stills, the Doobie Brothers, Jimmy Buffett, Steve Winwood, and one of my favorite blues players. He's not great live. He's a little stilted live, but Robert Cray, fantastic. And they were on Strong Persuader, Sweet Potato Pie, and one of my favorite albums, blues albums, Midnight Stroll, with Robert Cray. If you listen to that, the horns are really prevalent on that entire record, and I really enjoy it. So again, it's they also played with U2.
They also played with the Pogues.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, they did play.
Really,
They were on If I Should Fall from Grace with God, and I think it was the song Fiesta, because they were using horns on that one.
Yeah.
But again, I rank these a lot based on the music I like, and I love the music of the Memphis Horns.
And Suspicious Minds, is there a more, I think it's Elvis's best song.
It's one of them. I have a hard time judging Elvis.
I'm not an
a
Elvis fan by any
Right.
means, but that song is knockout good.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, Elvis was a man who hired well.
Yeah, that is a knockout song.
I mean, he hired James Burton. He hired Scotty Moore. He hired the
Yeah.
Memphis Horns. He knows a little something.
yeah, and he could pay
that
a
or
few
Colonel
bucks
Parker
too.
did.
Colonel Parker.
Yeah. A great selection. Thank you, Frank. And all right, Jeff, here we go.
Okay, number 1.
Are you the pilot in Airplane now? Shall I come over and wipe your forehead? Or are you okay?
No, I'm a boxer in the corner about to come out.
Ooh. Is that like Bugs Bunny when he boxes the Crusher? Let me at him.
Are you going to say, cut me, Mick, cut me?
I should have taken a left turn at Albuquerque.
Yeah, Albuquerque. Go ahead, Jeff.
We kind of mentioned him earlier. The Colonel himself, Steve Cropper.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That man wrote, produced, play on most of the Stax Volt, that generation of R&B. Again, most of us now know him through being a blues brother. But I mean, you're
Great selection.
He played with Booker T. He played with Otis Redding, Wilson Pickett. He was the Sax House Band. He played with Leon Russell, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay.
Yeah.
These are just as a writer. Sitting on the Dock of the Bay in the midnight hour, Knock on Wood, 6345789.
Wow.
Green Onions, Hard to Handle, which is one of my favorites by Otis. Respect, Mr. Pitiful. These were all written by this man.
Right.
That's not even introducing what he's produced. He did Hold On, I'm Coming, Sam and Dave.
Yeah.
He played on Try a Little Tenderness by Otis, Soul Man, Hold On, I'm Coming. There wasn't anything this man couldn't do, and he didn't stop once the 50s were over. That was his heyday.
Right.
But he kept on playing after that. He kept on producing after that. He still toured. That's when we saw him with the Blues Brothers. And that's where, as I said earlier, I saw him open for the B-52s. I mean, Booker T and the B-52s. Doesn't seem like it should go together.
North and South, right?
But they chose that band. They must have loved it too.
Yeah.
And it was honestly one of the best concerts I've seen. I just wish I was more aware of them at that time so I could appreciate it more. The Colonel only died last year, so he
Right.
was busy up until the very end. I think Booker T is the only one left because I know Duck Dunn and Al are both dead.
Wow.
So Booker is the last remaining Stax Volt.
Little
mega.
string of hits there. So, Jeff, how come a guy like the Colonel does not ever get recognition on songwriting abilities?
It's not what it is about.
Yeah.
It's about the music and those who know, like us, know,
Yeah.
and those who play, they definitely know. And it's just sometimes the unfairness of the music business.
Yeah,
They were
the
house band.
unfairness. And I mentioned the other day when we were chatting early in the morning, solving all the world's problems, Jeff.
Telling no one.
How, obviously Knopfler at Dire Straits is known for guitar playing.
Yeah.
But other than Money for Nothing, which he gave writing credits to Sting for the
I want my MTV.
the MTV intro. And every single song by Dire Straits is written by Mark Knopfler. But you know him for the guitar playing, but you don't really ever get him mentioned. And then you include Princess Bride and all the screenplays and all the stuff he's written. And he's never mentioned in great songwriters, just like this gentleman.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, if you're in there for fame, you've chosen the wrong profession. You're there because you love the music. You love what you make. You don't write your books to be rich.
No, I'm not Charles Dickens.
You do it because you love it. It's something you have to do.
Right, create.
And Stephen Cropper had to play guitar. And he didn't play guitar. He played guitar.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay.
And people.
What do you got, Frank?
I mean, in the music industry, casual fans may not know who wrote the song. The people in the industry know who wrote the song.
Yeah.
And they're sought after, and they are courted to write songs for people. I have a friend whose son and daughter-in-law are songwriters in Nashville, and they have written some stuff. Modern Nashville sound I'm not a fan of, but they have written several of those. No one knows them, but they've done, and so they're sought after. So my number one.
Okay, go ahead, Frank.
It goes to back to the Funk Brothers, and I love the music. It's funny. I was into the music. Then in the 70s and 80s and 90s, I sort of got out of that music and moved on, like a lot of the world. In my older age, I'm now going back into that music and just really appreciating how wonderful it is. And Funk Brothers were the Berry Gordy's house band for Motown. They backed the Temptation Supremes, the Miracles, Four Tops, Gladys Knight, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder. They were on the songs My Girl, Heard It Through the Grapevine, Baby Love, Papa Was a Rolling Stone, Tears of a Clown, Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Heat Wave. The music has stood for 60 years and will, I think, stand for 60 more. And their musicianship is absolutely stunning. Again, highly recommend for people standing in the shadow of Motown. Joan Osborne, who was very instrumental in pulling that together, and appears in it. She was just total fanboy with these guys, and it's funny because Joan Osborne, I don't think people realize how great a singer she is. That one song,
she's overshadowed by her own hit.
Yeah, by the one hit.
Right.
But if you listen to the rest of that album, it's nothing like that. And she is such a beautiful voice. But anyway, that's my number one, and really it goes back to the music. Still warms my heart. I'm 66. I've been listening to this music for 60 years.
Well, that's fantastic stuff.
Everybody that I think I've listed on here, I still listen to various degrees.
Right.
They're not going away, at least not for me.
Right. Fantastic stuff. And Frank, a recap on, for the listeners, the documentaries that you recommend that are watched. You mentioned the Muscle Shoals and the
Standing in the Shadow of Motown is the Funk Brothers and the Berry Gordy Band. Wrecking Crew is the Wrecking Crew. Muscle Shoals is Muscle Shoals. And there's another one that doesn't quite fit into this, but it's called 20 Feet from Stardom.
Yes, I've seen that one.
It's fantastic, and it's all about
Very good.
backup singers.
Fantastic.
And those four movies, you'll have about 8 hours of incredible music history if you watch those.
And it's going to be one of those things when you watch the Standing 20 Feet from Genius or whatever. I'm saying the name wrong.
Yeah.
They talked to the lady who did the song. The backup part was "Ray Butter, you
Give me shelter.
Give me shelter."
Shelter, yeah.
She just was singing her heart out. Apparently, she says that she had
she was pregnant.
She was pregnant and had a miscarriage. Just on the passion and what she had to give to that song. She unfortunately lost the baby.
Yeah.
But it's a story that I think you need to hear because these people, this is their job. This is what they love. She wasn't intending to lose the baby. She just was told, sing this song and she gave it her all, and it took too much out of her.
And the back, they called her up and woke her up out of bed and pulled her into to where they were recording at 2 a.m.
Wow.
to do that. Because they were on a roll and they had to get it that night, and she came in, and like you said, it's hard to watch when she talks about it, because you can, and when I listened. How many times have I listened to that song and I've never really understood what she was singing? It's like,
But,
then you rape murder, and you're like,
well, and that's the thing. I didn't know those words either, and I thought it was kind of like the Great Gig in the Sky on Pink Floyd, where I
rock area with the yellow,
and she just, I thought it was her just adding to the atmosphere. I didn't realize what she was saying all those years ago.
And, and I can imagine, singing with that passion and depth that she did with those words. I mean, God bless her.
Yeah, that's historic stuff. So Paulie sat this one out, but I did make some notes, and some of the stuff didn't get mentioned here. So I think it's valid that I can jump in. We got about 6 minutes here, so I'm gonna throw a couple in here. All right, and I didn't rate them. I'm just gonna throw some names out. See if it connects. So I have Tony Fernandez. Tony Fernandez is, for lack of a better word, a multi-percussionist. And he played mostly with the Straws and met Rick Wakeman. And Tony Fernandez is part of Rick Wakeman's famous English rock ensemble, which is just this over-the-top, very, very pretentious Rick Wakeman stuff with the cape and everything. But Tony Fernandez is one of the coolest dudes you ever see. And he plays the bongo drums mostly, but he'll play other things too. And he wears these dark sunglasses, so I kind of like him. And he'll cut out, for lack of a better word, think Desi Arnaz, Babalu. And he's a cool guy with a cool vibe. So I'm going to mention Tony Fernandez. I'm going to mention Ashley Holt, a band called Warhorse. And Ashley Holt, it has this unique singing voice, and he also shows up on Rick Wakeman recordings. He shows up on Journey to the Center of the Earth and some of that crazy, King Arthur and all that. And he has just a unique voice. And at first you're like, my gosh, this guy can't sing worth a hill of beans. But then as you listen to the records, he does kind of blend in with what Rick Wakeman's trying to do.
We were able to avoid Prague for so long.
You're not going to avoid it. And of course,
I'm a Prague guy. So.
Yeah, Rick Wakeman, of course, the Morning is Broken, the intro with Cat Stevens and all that. I think, Jeff, you mentioned James Burton. So I want to mention James Burton. Certainly, James Burton is going to maybe show up in almost everybody's top 20 guitarists of all time, maybe their top 10. And if you don't know who James Burton is, I highly recommend, we're talking about films, Frank, Black and White Night with Roy Orbison. Mm-hmm. And it's filmed in a smoky cocktail lounge setting. It's filmed in black and white, and everybody's wearing black and white. And it's kind of Roy's comeback. It's kind of Jeff Lynne pushing Roy to come back. And it's absolutely fantastic. And everybody shows up for him. Katie Lang, Elvis Costello, Bruce Springsteen, Jackson Browne. Everybody shows up to support Roy Orbison. And James Burton is the guitarist. And on Pretty Woman, they go into an extended jam. And Bruce Springsteen comes over and he tries to keep up with James Burton. And that didn't work out too well. After about 2 minutes, you see Springsteen kind of puts his hands up and walks back to where he was sitting. It's fabulous. The other one I have is, we talked about Chet Atkins. Mm-hmm. No one mentioned Mel Collins. Come on, guys. Come on. Mel Collins shows up with a saxophone.
I saw him as a sideman. And I listened to him on some of the things he plays on, but I see him more as he was a member of a band, and then he played sideman.
And actually, he was a touring member of Dire Straits for the Every Street tour.
And he was in King Crimson.
Yeah, and he shows up everywhere. And then the last person I want to mention is Charlie McCoy. Does anybody know who Charlie McCoy is?
Remind me, the name sounds familiar, but I might be just doing that because of the McCoys.
Yeah, no, he's Mr. Harmonica. He's Mr. Harmonica. If you need a harmonica player, you go to Charlie McCoy. And I believe, and I do play the harmonica, so I got a soft spot. And he shows up on everybody's records. I mean, forever. And I think he's 85 and still playing the harmonica. So those are just a couple that Paulie threw in there. Wow, fantastic stuff. Jeff, do you have any closing thoughts? We got about 2 minutes.
Read the liner notes. You'll learn so much about music just by reading the notes and realizing, hey, I like that guy. He was on that song, and that song. And it can only help you grow an appreciation for the music you already love.
Awesome. Frankie T?
Do they have liner notes anymore? I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah.
I miss my old vinyl.
Yeah.
I need to get back to that. I didn't get rid of them. It was a negotiation with my wife for space a long time ago before records made a comeback, and I regret ever giving in on.
Yeah, me too. And as you know, here in the Writing Command Center, I don't have a lot of stuff, so I don't like a lot of clutter, but I'm with you, Frank. And they do have liner notes, but for us older guys, you need magnifying glasses on some of these CDs, or you get the liner notes.
You need to lean back in your beanbag chair, put your headphones on, and read the liner notes while you're listening to all of Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, don't you? I mean, just a bit of nostalgia. Records, a lot of times records would be released on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And you knew who was releasing records, and you run out and buy it, and you did just that. You waited till 10 o'clock that night, you waited at 11 o'clock, midnight, you sat down, you got the right frame of mind, and you listened and read and just studied, and then got old albums from that same artist and compared. It was just wonderful. It's formative pieces of my youth.
One of my favorite memories was as a young, I was a journeyman electrician, but I was on the road doing service calls in Ridgewood, New Jersey, the village of Ridgewood. There was a Ridgewood record shop, mom and pop thing. And you're right, Frank, they were released during the work week, Tuesdays or Wednesdays. And Out of the Blue by ELO was being released. And I just broke off my route and had to be there when that shipment came in. And the owner of the store broke it out. Was there a cooler vinyl with the little spaceship guy inside of the big spaceship guy? And you're exactly right, Frank. Rushed home, open this thing up and just start reading. That's fantastic stuff. But at any rate, thank you so much, both of you, for coming on board. This has been a fantastic treat to have two fantastic musical minds on the podcast, and we thank you so much. And hey, let's wrap it up here real quick, and then hey, please be kind. Please be very gentle. Be very tolerant. Remember, kindness is for free. Spread it around as much as you can. It can only make this world a better place. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy from Paterson, New Jersey. And Jeff, you're from?
Sterling, Virginia.
And Frankie T?
Hillcrest Heights, Maryland.
Fantastic stuff. So, hey, I love your idea of roasting Paulie and telling Paulie why he's wrong about
It's not a roast. You're very wrong.
I'm very wrong about the overrated thing. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and negotiate that. And I hope you guys will come back for that. It's been such a treat, and I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye for now.